Now, WUSA 9 Game on Sports with Kristen Brissett, brought to you by Xfinity.
It was a golf tournament chock full of drama and excitement, and even if you aren't an avid follower of the sport, this one had storylines for everyone. The biggest, of course, was that of Jordan Spieth and his quest to make history. Let's check it out, see how it all went. It was a rare Monday finish for the Open at beautiful St. Andrews. The biggest question today, would Jordan Spieth become just the second golfer to win the first three majors of the year? While his putting was a bit off at times, this didn't help. He blew a 100-foot or so putt well past the hole. He ended up double bogeying that hole. Zach Johnson made a huge move today at 18 to get in the clubhouse at 15. He sinks it. Check out his caddy with the little birdie dance. They were enjoying that. That gave him the lead going into the clubhouse. Spieth with a birdie putt on 18 to get into the playoff. It was so close. I think I was screaming at the TV for this one. Just misses, which means not even a playoff for Spieth. His time was over. It would be a three-man, four-hole playoff. Zach Johnson chance to win. He his putt just slides past the hole. Louis Oosthuizen needs this putt to extend the playoff, but his just slides by. An emotional Zach Johnson wins his first Open championship.
Dreams have been realized and goals accomplished. I'm humbled, I'm honored to be your Open champion and your champion golfer of the year.
This weekend, we not only got an extra day of golf, but some great stories came out of the Open Championship at St. Andrews, the home of golf. Tom Watson's final stroll, a 22-year-old amateur holding the 54-hole lead and a three-person playoff. And, of course, Jordan Spieth's quest for history. Spieth was trying to become just the second golfer to win his third straight major of the year. People will look back on the 8th hole as probably the hole that ultimately cost him the Open, missing the bogey putt, a 4-putt double bogey for Spieth. That being said, Spieth did find a way to hang around. Birdie attempt at 16 to move into a tie. He sinks that one, and he's pretty pumped about it. After a bogey at 17, Spieth needed a birdie at 18 to get in the playoff, but just inches away from the cup. Just wasn't meant to be. Jordan Spieth finishes one stroke short in his bid to win his third straight major.
My goal at the beginning of the day was 4 under for the round, and we got there, on 16. And ideally, you can finish par birdie is a perfect way to finish out here, and that would have gotten the job done. So it stings a little bit, but ultimately I thought we gave it a really good run.
Seeing the youngster Jordan Spieth in contention has become, well, quite a familiar sight this season. But on the flip side, not seeing Tiger Woods' name high on the leaderboard has also become all too familiar. Tiger said before hitting the course at St. Andrews, he felt he was playing good enough to win the Open. But what we saw instead was more issues. Tiger missed the cut by 7 strokes. While he searches for that perfect swing, more and more people begin to question whether this is it for Tiger. We talked with Barry Sperluga from the Washington Post. He says a humble Tiger could go a long way to keeping that fan support.
I think America wants to hear him assess his weaknesses, assess his vulnerabilities, say, I've gone through this period where I've really struggled with my game. It's lasted much longer than I expected. I've abandoned one swing thought for another, and I'm a little bit caught between. He kind of gets up there and just says, part of the process, part of the process, part of the process, and that gets a little bit tiring.
About the same length he had to tap in to close it out in 2012. He lined it up back then as well.
I didn't think you could see the hope of the tears in his eyes.
Watson wins another green jacket at Augusta.
Bubba Watson, your 2014 Masters champion, his second green jacket in 3 years. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Game On Overtime. I'm Kristen Brissett. Another Masters has come and gone, and despite the absence of Tiger Woods, this year's tournament still had plenty to talk about. 2 guys chasing history, one to be the youngest ever winner, the other the oldest. But the final round of the Masters would start with Bubba Watson and the youngster Jordan Spieth at top of the leaderboard. A lot of great golf today. Freddie Couples once again teasing us with 2 early birdies to start the final round. Ricky Fowler at the first hole, birdies to get within 1 of the lead as well. Lots of guys starting off pretty well. At the second hole, Jordan Spieth, the youngster, gets going with the birdie putt. just rolls it right in, lips it around. He gets it going. Matt Kuchar would answer, chipping in at the third to move to a tie at 6 under. But the wheels would fall off for Kuch in the very next hole, missing the bogey putt. He would double bogey on this hole. Best shot of the day, maybe of this tournament, belongs to Jordan Spieth. Huge. This time from the bunker at the 4th. Holds out for birdie and to take a 2-shot lead. Talk about being calm in that situation. But Spieth would unravel late on the front 9. Bubba would surge. Here he birdies the 9th hole, some key holes for Bubba Watson in this final round, while Jordan Spieth would miss his par putt on that same hole and pull out a bogey there. Part of a 4-shot swing over 2 holes between these two golfers. That would set up a relatively drama-free back 9 as Watson's steady play allowed him to enjoy the easy walk down the 18th fairway, up 3 shots over Spieth. Now Bubba just taps it in for par, the 72nd hole to win the 78th Masters. Here's a look at the final leaderboard. The Swede Jonas Blix tied for second with Spieth at 5 under. Miguel Angel Jimenez, the most interesting man in the world, trying to become the oldest player ever, finished 4th at 4 under. Ricky Fowler finished tied for 5th. And some other notables, Rory McIlroy finished even, tied for 8th. Last year's winner, Adam Scott, finished tied for 14th with Justin Rose. Phil Haas, last year's winner at the AT&T National, finished tied for 20th with Freddie Couples.
I was telling my caddy coming up 18, I don't remember the last few holes. I just remember hanging on. All I thought about was make pars and make pars. And somehow I did, and walking up 18 was a little bit easier this time.
Going into the week, I wanted to get in contention on back 9 Sunday, and that's what happened. And didn't come out on top, but I could take a lot of positives away. Felt very comfortable out there. My game felt like it'll hold up, and I think I'm ready to win a major.
We'll see what he can do. So again, Bubba Watson wins his 2nd green jacket in 3 years, becomes the 17th golfer to ever win multiple Masters and the first to win 2 Masters in just 6 attempts since 1960. All right, joining me now, Troy Miller, golf course architect and director of golf for Landmark. Troy, we appreciate you coming in. Really great tournament, despite not having a Tiger Woods. Let's start, though, with Bubba Watson. Seeing him start at the top, and he faltered. He had that bogey early on, but he was trying to stay cool, calm, and collected. What impressed you about him today?
Right, absolutely. I think Bubba really overcame his demons today. It's one of those things where for a long time people have been talking about how nervous he gets when he's got the lead after 54 holes. He's only closed the deal once before with a 54-hole lead. Today, he really did show that he can do better with a 54-hole lead. And the way that he finished 17 and 18, those were opportunities. Certainly 16, 17, and 18 were opportunities to show a little bit of that faulty putting that we saw late yesterday, but he didn't. He was locked up, and he closed. He closed the deal and proved a lot of folks wrong. And he showed too that he plays the game like he wants to play it, differently than anybody else. Hitting it 350 yards on the 13th hole over all the trees. That's not a shot that anybody else is going to attempt, much less actually pull off.
Especially to attempt at the Masters of all places.
That's exactly right. And then in 15 as well, he really showed the way that he likes to play golf by attempting to and hitting it over the water on 15 and 2 at a time where he really didn't need to. But that's the way he plays, that's his attitude, and that's what he's going to do.
Having won before could have given him an advantage, but it also could have bring that added pressure that, you know, could he repeat? Could he repeat? Now, you worked on Augusta. You worked on the renovations to Augusta, and we've seen the 6 of the last 12 winners are lefties. Is this a lefties playground, the way this course
I think
is?
it absolutely is. It's one of those places where, with the exception of the 11th hole and the 18th hole, as far as driving the golf ball, it's a very comfortable place for left-handers because you'll hear the old golf adage that you can talk to a fade, but a hook won't listen. And those guys can hit fades off of all those holes with the exception of 11 and 18, which Bubba had mentioned on many occasions how uncomfortable those tee shots are for him. So it was fortunate that he could take a little less club off of 18 and cruise in for the victory today. And he handled 11 well as well. So hitting that high fade for a left-hander is a lot easier than hitting that hard draw for a right-hander.
Let's talk about Jordan, 20 years old, going out there with the pressure of becoming the youngest player ever to win the Masters. Started off great, had that hole out on 4, and then the wheels kind of fell off.
Yeah, the back-to-back 8 and 9 2-shot swings there with the bogeys both on 8 and 9. It just is a testament to how Augusta National can jump up and bite you. He's a 20-year-old with a 40-year-old mind, and I believe that that Jordan's got a lot of major championships ahead of him. I know at the end of the day he said he was hungry. I don't think it was for food. I think it's for a major championship. He'll get there quickly and multiple times in the future.
A lot to be proud of from him, the way he handled himself, handled the pressure for sure. Now, of course, first time in 20 years, no Tiger Woods. How do you think his absence affected this tournament, or did it?
Well, you know, honestly, the Masters is the Masters, and it's going to go on forever with or without Tiger Woods. It's certainly going to hurt, I think, the TV ratings to some degree. You know, there's those folks that are there to watch Tiger.
Right.
But there's such a huge crop of young players that are out there today that have come up in the Tiger Woods era, and really he's a little bit of a victim of his own success because we have so many good young players out there. And now the next thing is just to get them to step up a little more and actually be able to close the deal and throw up some eagles and some birdies on the last 9 at Augusta.
Low round of the week on Friday. Persevere today, and Justin Rose is the winner.
Justin Rose picks up his first win on the tour this year, his second career win at Congressional Country Club, winning a one-hole sudden death playoff. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Dave Owens, I'm Kristen Brissett. The blue course was tough for most of the golfers today at Congressional.
Woo, KB, it was tough. You needed a seat belt if you were a fan on Sunday. A lot of moving and shaking in the final round at Congressional. Let's get to it. Let's get ready to rumble. Final round at scenic Congressional Country Club. That's a beautiful shot. Never gets old. Mark Leishman started the day 2 shots back, and he was radar locked on the leaders. The birdie at 5 gets him in contention. Justin Rose, former champion in this tournament, approach at the 9th, and she's a beauty. Number 9, within a couple of feet of the cup. Patrick Reed came into today in the lead. You know, they say the wheels fall off the wagon. How about when the axle falls off the car? I mean, this was a train wreck. He shot double 7s on Sunday. He was done.
At the 16th, Sean Stephanie making the charge up the leaderboard. Putt for birdie just drops in the hole. You almost can't believe it. Fast forward to the 18th, Justin Rose, having already gone in the water, sinks the bogey putt to keep his hopes alive. Big bogey save there. Going to a playoff on the 18th. Stephanie in the thick stuff, trying to get it close to the green, goes a little overzealous and into the water instead. That allows Rose to take a nice stroll down the 18th fairway. Just tap, tap, tap it in for par. He wins his second in Tiger's tournament.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to win, obviously, at Aronimink, and I have the Liberty Bell trophy, but this trophy right here is one of the most special ones that we play for all year. It's such a great looking trophy. So I have the double act now, you know, 2 of those great trophies.
It was great to put myself in position, obviously in a playoff, to win a tournament. This is the first time I've been in that position coming in on Sunday late, and I'm really happy about it.
To look at the final leaderboard, 37-year-old Charlie Hoffman finishes in a tie for 3rd with 26-year-old Ben Martin at 3 under. Andres Romero 2 under, a 3-way tie for 5th. Some other notables: Mark Leishman, who was in the second to last group today, dropped to a tie for 8th. The leader to start the day, Patrick Reed, you saw his struggle, shot a 6 over on the back 9 to drop all the way to 11th. 20-year-old Oliver Goss, one of the round 2 leaders as well, shot 8 over. Tiger Woods wasn't expected to return to competitive golf for at least another 3 to 4 weeks. The British Open was always his goal, but he decided to come back early to support the tournament that bears his name. He spent ample time with the media before it all began. He even spoke to us after some rather rough rounds of golf. Day 1, he seemed to find a rhythm on his second 9, but day 2, things began to unravel with this double bogey on the 5. It was just an ugly round overall for Tiger. He had trouble finding the fairway, and you could tell he was frustrated with his short game. But because of 2 bad rounds, you might expect Tiger to be unhappy. But in fact, he was quite optimistic.
The fact that I was able to even play, you know, I came back 4 weeks earlier than we thought I could. I had no setbacks. I got my feel for playing tournament golf. I made a ton of simple little mistakes. Well, the thing I was worried about the most was hitting driver, and I roasted it most of the last 2 days. I hit it really well, and the fact that I was able to hit it that hard was very encouraging, and not to have any setbacks at all, and I was able to shape it both ways, which was nice. The short game was off. I've been practicing on Bermuda grass, and I grew the grass up at my house, and it was Bermuda rough, but you come out here and play rye, it's totally different, and it showed. You know, I was off.
He said he wanted to shake the rust off. He's got a little bit more work to do. Here's a look at Tiger's numbers through his first 2 competitive rounds. 7 birdies, 12 bogeys, and a double. He hit 57% of the fairways, 56% of greens in regulation. This is Tiger's first missed 36-hole cut since July 6, 2012. So what can we derive from all of this? Earlier today, I caught up with USA Today sports columnist Christine Brennan to get her take on everything Tiger.
You know, he looked stiff, Kristen. He looked like he had back surgery and was coming back for the first time. He was very optimistic because he saw a lot of progress and the fact that he actually could get out there and play. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the British Open is just 3 weeks away, and he sure did not look ready for prime time. But let's take his word for it, that he feels good about it, that the comeback is continuing. This sport, you know, needs him desperately. So he'll be at the British Open next. That's where we'll see him. I don't expect him to win. We'll see if he can contend. But at least it was a start here this week.
You were talking about the British Open, and Tiger saying he feels like the best way he can be him is to do the competitive play, get the rust shaken off. But is it really wise to play even in a major when you know you're not going to possibly contend?
We have to assume he's talking to his doctors and his physical therapists and what have you. But I think it's a great question because the British Open, as so many of people listening to us know, it can be cold, 50, 60 degrees. It can be difficult to warm up. Is this what you want to walk back into with a bad back that, of course, has had surgery, and he says he's better and he feels good? But, one big shot out of that rough, and it's supposed to be lush this year at Hoylake in Liverpool, and went back in '06 when he won. It was dry and hard and fast, and now it's supposed to be very different. So, again, as a journalist, I'll be the killjoy, the cautionary tale, saying, wow, really, Tiger, you want to jeopardize this? Obviously, Tiger is talking to his people, and they have given him the green light, and so he's going for it.
Here at Quicken Loans National, you've talked a little bit about unknown names that maybe people that aren't so into the golf world are unfamiliar with, that they're the future of golf. But how much does this sport still need Tiger Woods?
I mean, as much as you could say. I mean, and it was clear this week, even though it was beautiful weather and the crowds were okay. When Tiger left, it was as if the buzz left. The air was let out of the balloon. Let's just be honest. And that's tough. And if that leaderboard, that's the future of the sport without Tiger, without Phil. Phil Mickelson is 44 years old. He's had his physical problems. Tiger, of course, is closing in on 39 years old with a body that skews much older. This sport, I'll just say it, I think it's in trouble because there is no emerging superstar the way Tiger was coming up in the 90s. Jordan Spieth, you mentioned him, he's great. But he's not Tiger, and he's not going to bring Grandma and Grandpa running to the TV set on Sundays, planning their days around Tiger's tee time. This era is not over, but we're seeing the end of it. We're seeing the back end of Tiger's career, and I think that's really troublesome for the PGA Tour.
You could see it in the numbers this weekend. Thursday, Friday were up from last year when Tiger wasn't playing, and down over the weekend. However, this being Tiger's tournament, his name is on this tournament. He didn't make the cut. But he also didn't show up for the trophy presentation. What did you take from that?
Very surprising and not a class move by Tiger. Let's just say it. Last year, even though he didn't play, he flew in specially to give the trophy to Bill Haas. This year he played, he left, he did not come back. That's bad. That's just bad. If you're the host of this tournament, if this is for, which of course it is, the Tiger Woods Foundation, Tiger's talked all about the military people, how important it is to him to honor them, and you don't take the time to fly back on a private jet from Florida on Sunday afternoon to honor the winner, that's just not good. And I think Tiger missed a big opportunity, PR opportunity, and also just the right thing to do. So bad move by Tiger, surprising and unfortunate. That was just not a classy move by Tiger Woods.
Coming up next, who copped this trophy? Haas is boss on Sunday, and that means, hey man, you get to raise the hardware.
Today, unbelievable special day. I can't even tell you how good it feels.
Still, one presence presides over all others. Tiger back on the premises for the final round with words of encouragement for the future.
We've enjoyed our time here, and trust me, we'd like to come back.
Music to Congressional's ears. A star-studded cast provide their take on the week that was.
I look at it as a real blessing, though, to the tour that we get to come back here every year.
Game on overtime. Close to the pin? Indeed.
And there's your champion. Sharing it with his brother, Jay Jr.
Hey, hey, what a day for Billy Haas, that is. For so long, shut out of the winner's circle, but not today. Welcome to Game On Overtime, everybody. You know, normally, KB, we hit all the sports, but tonight we're honing in on the big story this week, the AT&T National.
Yeah, there was no Tiger on the course, but there was still plenty of great golf to see this weekend. The day began with 4 guys tied for the lead. At one point, 6 of them held a share. But then the guy with a familiar last name pulled away from the pack. Everyone vying for this beauty. One of the co-leaders, Roberto Castro, not having the greatest of start. Bunker shot goes, well, nowhere. Rough start for him. Another co-leader, Billy Haas, doing much better. Picks up his first birdie on the day at the par 3 second. The 9th hole, you know, that was troublesome for a lot of folks this week. Part of the leader pairing, James Driscoll, for par, just misses the hole. Taps in for bogey. He never was a factor today, shooting 3 over. Haas, though, very much a factor from the get-go. Sinks the putt at the 9th here. He picked up 3 straight birdies on 8, 9, and 10 to start pulling away. Fast forward to 13. This could have been Haas's undoing, but the ball does a 360 and drops in the hole for par. Just all the way around. Haas cruised the rest of the way, soaking in the applause, going down the 18th fairway. And then on 18 with a 3-shot lead, Haas sinks the 3-foot par putt to win his first AT&T National.
Today, unbelievable special day. I can't even tell you how good it feels. I was trying to keep my emotions in check out there. It's so hard to do. As many times that I've choked and I've hit bad shots and I've been nervous and it hasn't worked out, I was feeling all those things today. And to hit good quality golf shots down the stretch is such a good feeling. I wish I could explain it. I mean, it's amazing.
Here's a look at the final leaderboard. Haas at 12 under. Roberto Castro wound up with his best finish ever in second at 9 under. D.H. Lee, his first year on the tour, shot up the leaderboard shooting a 7 under 64. The best round of the tournament. He tied for third with Jason Kokrak. Also, 19-year-old Jordan Spieth out of Texas finished 6th. on Angel Cabrera 13th. Jason Day tied for 21st with Ricky Fowler. Masters champ Adam Scott shot a 5 over to finish tied for 57th. Not his best weekend. Bill Haas has played Congressional 5 times now. His best finish ever was in a tie for 30th place. After making a triple bogey on Saturday, Haas promised to correct his scorecard mistakes, and he did just that, knocking down 6 birdies on Sunday, including 3 straight to take the lead. I caught up with the winner to get his thoughts on his winning round.
It feels amazing. Like you said, haven't had great success here, but I love the golf course. I was just trying to keep plugging along out there, and I'm very fortunate to win at such a great venue. The crowd was amazing. The crowds were amazing. Yeah, a lot of Deacon support, a lot of Wake Forest people around here were yelling at me out there, and it's just nice to hear your name yelled out there. And it's such a great golf course. This is a pretty big treat.
You talked about plugging along. That's exactly what you did. I think you're only one in the top 7 that wasn't under par all week long. So that slow and steady kind of wins the race this week.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a golf course that can jump up and bite you pretty easy, and you can shoot a big number if you're not careful. So to shoot 4 rounds under par on such a tough golf course is such a good feeling.
Nice to have those 23 birdies. You're over halfway the wins that your dad had. Did he say something to you before the final round?
We were texting a little bit last night. He gave me his great, pieces of wisdom and just put things in perspective. And I know he's always out there watching and pulling for me, checking. He had to play today, and I bet he was probably checking his phone out there on the golf course. So this is pretty special.
A proud moment. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Thank you. Winning runs in the family. This is Haas's 5th career win. His dad, Jay Haas, who now plays on the Champions Tour, has 9 PGA wins. This win moves Bill into the top 10 of the FedEx Cup standings, which he won back in 2011. Haas becomes the 4th player currently on tour with a win in each of the last 4 seasons, joining Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Justin Rose. When it comes to sports on CBS, one of the most iconic names and voices is that of Jim Nantz. He's been calling sports on the network since 1985. He's announced the Masters since 1989. Well, this weekend, he let us go behind the scenes of his job during the AT&T National. We got a tour of his broadcast booth located near the 18th green. Pretty nice view, and best of all, air-conditioned, much needed. Nance was joined by Nick Faldo during the weekend to call the game. WSA morning anchor Mike Heideck was there, went one-on-one with the legend to find out about the future of AT&T National and much more.
So Jim, you've been covering golf for more than 20 years on CBS. Have you ever, in your time covering golf, seen a tournament like this AT&T National bring in millions of dollars over the years? However, the members are seriously discussing doing away with it. Have you ever seen that happen?
No, there aren't any really other examples I can come up with, but Congressional has such a rich history, and it's a balancing act. How much do you want to try to extend that history, create more history? At the same time, you want to give up your golf course in the middle of your prime season. So I can understand that. I look at it as a real blessing, though, to the tour that we get to come back here every year. This is one of the real old classical courses we have. It's one of the finest courses in the world, and I give it serious considerations as one of the great gifts we have on the PGA Tour.
Let's talk about a little bit of history here. Tiger Woods turned pro shortly after his 20th birthday, I believe. He might have been 21. Jordan Spieth here, 19 years old. Talk about the symmetry. A young phenom, a once young phenom, now possibly handing a trophy to a current young phenom.
Well, I don't think Jordan Spieth's getting enough attention right now for what he's doing and what he's done already this year. I mean, 19 years old, he's ahead as a professional. He's ahead of the incredible pace that was set by Tiger. But what it really says to me is that Jordan Spieth is going to be one of the great players that we have from our country and around the world. I'm excited about it. Interestingly, I was at an event down in Houston about 2 months ago, and I had a panel discussion, name dropping now, with the likes of Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Lee Trevino. And I asked them all, tell me one player, I'm taking Rory off the board, one player that you would say is going to be the next great player. The first guy up was Trevino, and Trevino's answer was Jordan Spieth. Now at that time, a lot of people didn't have Spieth on their radar. Since then, he's flirted with contention at Colonial and some other nice finishes. But I just can't get the Trevino comment out of my mind.
And it was a quick reaction, right? There wasn't
an immediate reaction. He said it's going to be Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
I'm just astonished that a 19-year-old can compete like this on a regular basis in his rookie year on tour. He's fearless. We first met this young man now when he was 16 years old playing in the Byron Nelson tournament as a high schooler, and he was in contention there. And I'm just really excited. We live in the storytelling business. That's our job. And when you have a story as rich as this one and potentially as historic as this one, it makes it for a very exciting weekend of coverage.